Today I wanted to go over the Project Embra MK II, go over my thoughts on the gun, talk about its stats a little bit, talk about what really it's good for in SGL, and just give my overall opinion of the gun. I hope to do a lot more gun reviews like this in this format, where first we'll go over the stats, show a little PvE gameplay, and then go into dual gameplay as well as team PvP gameplay to evaluate how each gun performs in each different mode. So first thing, looking at the stats of this gun, I did manage to get the second good roll that came out on it. I didn't have enough eggs for the god roll, but I'm pretty happy with the perks that I got. Obviously, I'd love to have more damage to elites, but it does have all 4 damage perks as well as a little bit of magazine capacity boost as well. So first things first, going over the base DPS of the gun without considering any perks. The base DPS is 862.4, which is roughly the DPS of the Yutani 2 and sits right below Liberator on the DPS rank of Legendary Primaries. The DPM without Iron Sight, considering perks, is about 5,700, which is near the top end of auto rifles. You have a few slower firing rifles like Adestus, Rasputin, and some bursts like Megalodon and Ozapov that have higher DPM, but the DPM of this gun is obviously where it shines. And then lastly, sustaining damage, which is the most important damage stat for me, especially for primaries. I look at 2 of them. The first one is over 10 seconds for elites, since they have higher HP and last longer. What's the maximum amount of damage that you could throw out there with this gun? So against elites over 10 seconds, this is it does about 8,300 max damage, which is quite high. There are a few auto rifles I have in my inventory that beat it in this stat, which are Faraday, Nico, Firefist Spewer, Asshole Killer, and Nordic Guard, but still 8,300 is very respectable. The sustaining damage for trash mobs, I look at it over 5 seconds because they have lower HP, and it's a little bit over 5,000, about 5,056, which is only beaten by Firefist Spewer, Nikos, and Asshole Killer for auto rifles in my inventory. The last thing I'll look at is the other stats of the gun. So looking at the range is 20 meters for this gun, which is very long. Nico has 20, and there are only 2 auto rifles that have longer range, and that's the Tyrell 2 and Yutani 2. Obviously, the strength of this gun are in its big clip and its long range. So when thinking about what situations to use this gun in, as well as what build to use with this gun, you should either look to compensate for a gun's weaknesses or play to its strengths. So the weakness for this gun would be kind of somewhat lower DPS or damage output, but it's got long range and it's got good sustaining damage. So what I decided to go with from a build perspective is the 5.69 build, which is what I use mainly when I'm using either Faraday or my favorite auto rifle for PvP, which is Cutlass. They only have 20 bullets in the clip, so I really like to pick up 6 in combat so that I can get this magazine max out skill over here, so I can get 20% more for my magazine capacity. So with this gun, if I'm using this 5.69 build, I'm also pairing that with these magazine pants that I have, the Bulldozer, which have 28 assault rifle clip boost. So when I load into a PvP match, I have 59 bullets in the clip ready to go for my Embra Mark II, which is just a ton of bullets. So with that being said, knowing that this is a long-range gun, its damage output isn't incredibly high, I have to play this as a long-range kind of suppressive fire type of gun. It's great for taking out trash mobs in PvE from long range. It's good with packs of enemies like an arena, because you don't have to reload. You can just keep firing. And then from a PvP perspective, you really should be kind of sitting back a little bit more and supporting your team with kind of that longer range suppressive fire. So with that being said, the modes of this game that I think the Embra Mark II are well suited for are PvE, specifically arenas and kind of daily missions, as well as capture the flag, because you have long sight lines in that mode, and you can really just run with 1 or 2 of your teammates and support them they can be the aggressive ones, get into the firefight, and you're just kind of sitting in the background burning down enemies to make it a little bit easier for your teammates to handle them. So that's kind of a basic overview of the stats. What I'm going to go into is show a little PvE gameplay to show how it compares to Faraday, which is my highest sustaining damage gun that I have in my inventory. We'll do a duel evaluation to show how it shakes out in duels, and then we'll show some team PvP gameplay to show how it is in team PvP. Because I don't have the perks unlocked for this gun yet, I am going to use buffs when I compare it to my Faraday, because my Faraday has maxed out damage perks. It's got the 10 fire rate, 10 damage, 15 crit, and 10 elites. So I did manage to get a very good roll on this Faraday, so I wanted to make it a somewhat fair comparison since I don't have perks unlocked for this gun. So I just loaded into a mission here. I'm going to show you just the strengths of this gun. Again, I have not had to reload yet, and I just took out 4 enemies very easily. Didn't even really need to reload there because I still had 20 left in the clip. Just kind of force of habit.
Burn, baby, burn! Easy prey.
I'm just not going to reload here because I still have 41. As you can see, this gun is very easy to just handle trash mobs like this. You can just run and gun and go and just not even have to worry. I mean, look, I still have 40 bullets left in the clip, and I wasn't even worrying so much about how I was doing. Now I'm going to show off the Faraday and just see the difference between the two. So obviously the Faraday burns down the enemies much faster, but again, I've got to reload quite a bit to do this. So it's just it's kind of a matter of feel. If you don't really like the reloading of the Faraday, you can go with the Embra MK II, and it's a very forgiving weapon that really feels enjoyable to use. Okay, so we pulled a good match. Ace is a personal friend, so he's using Angry Hornet, which means I've got to keep some distance for sure. Well, that wasn't smart. That was a trade, mostly because of the clip. There we go, nice 2 headshots to start it off. You'll see the accuracy of this gun is what's winning me these fights right now. There we go. Oh, that was some rotten steel. So here's where I stick that. Okay, so now that we've looked at the gun in PvE and PvP settings, just wanted to give kind of an overall summary of what I think about the gun. So, from the PvE clips that I had, you can see that the time difference of the amount of time it took for me to use Embra and clear through all the trash mobs versus the time it took for me to use Faraday and clear through all the trash mobs wasn't really all that different. I looked at it, and it was about 50 seconds each time. And so it really kind of comes down to play style and what you prefer. There is something that I like about the Embra, which is the fact that you don't have to reload. It feels great. The high accuracy is really nice. The fire rate is not too slow, not too fast. It just kind of really feels silky smooth, to be honest with you, especially when using buffs, and I have my Raptor 10% gloves on to up the damage just a little bit from base. It's just hits this perfect sweet spot, and it's very well balanced. In PvP, the gun is growing on me. I still don't think it's the best dual weapon, just because the damage output just is too low, especially in a 1v1 situation. I prefer to have something that kills a little faster, but the high accuracy, and if I can keep range from my opponent, it can be a fantastic weapon. I tried to record some Capture the Flag gameplay, but unfortunately my recorder kept crashing as I was trying to do it. But I did do very well in Capture the Flag. Me and my guild leader were kind of in a 2v4 situation in Capture the Flag because our teammates were so bad. And I went 21 5 and 3, so 21 kills, 5 deaths, and 3 headshots, and he was at 24 8 and 4 or something like that. So, and his aim is quite a bit better than mine. He was using Nico, so it just goes to show, if you play this gun right, if you play it in a long range supportive role, you can do really well in team PvP, and the big clip leads to good sustaining damage that can do really well in PvE and be really fun to play because you basically never run out of ammo. So that about wraps it up. Again, leave me a comment if you like this format. I know this is a little bit of a long review, but I did want to cover a lot of different stuff. I do hope to do more of these in the future, so I'd love to hear from you guys, any feedback you have so that I can improve on these in the future. Thanks for watching.